to my channel. I'm Becky. If you're new here, welcome. So I thought today I would talk about ADHD, as you can tell from the title. I want to talk about things other than fibromyalgia. I was going to start with another pain condition, but I thought I'd do ADHD because I've been reading about it for the last month or so, and I think that I actually have some symptoms. So I haven't yet asked for an appointment with my GP to discuss an assessment yet, but I will do. I've got all this other stuff going on that's kind of more important, and I wanted to make sure that I fit the symptoms and all that kind of stuff. I was thinking, like, what's the point of getting a diagnosis? How will that help? So first and foremost, I guess the thing to discuss is, what is ADHD? ADHD presents differently in children, adults and women. So I thought that's interesting. I mean, you do expect there to be differences, I guess, between adults and children. And it's not too surprising in a way that women present differently, because, you know, there's lots of conditions where women present it differently, which can often make it harder to detect. Conditions like autism come to mind. So obviously that means it's harder to diagnose. So I'll add some links for where I'm getting my information. I've used a few different sites. I follow some people on, even like before I even thought I might have it, on like Instagram, who have it. So yeah. So ADHD, if you don't know, it stands for Attention Deficit Hyperactivity Disorder. It's classed as a neurobehavioral disorder and is common. Typical signs of ADHD are patterns of hyperactivity, impulsivity, defiant behavior and lack of focus. So before the 60s, little was explicitly known about ADHD, and it's actually called hyperkinetic impulse disorder and was believed to affect children primarily. A British paediatrician, Sir George Still, noticed certain children were unable to control their behaviour in a typical fashion, and even though they did not lack intelligence when tested. So I did show some signs actually of at least hyperactivity as a child, but my mum told me I did not have ADHD, I was just hyperactive. So I was like a hyper child. So I never thought too much of it. Like, she claimed that she was told that I didn't need to be tested for ADHD. I didn't need to go on medication. I just needed to avoid pure orange juice. I guess because it's got like a high sugar content. I couldn't have pure sugar Coke, so I started drinking Diet Coke when I did have it. And I think those are the only things that I was told. I think I have cousins who have ADHD, and there is shown to be a genetic component. I was very fidgety as a child, but, you know, that was just, I put that down myself to, you know, just the hyperactivity side of things. And, you know, children are quite wriggly and that. But even like into my teens, I was always like high energy. I didn't sleep a lot. Like, I've had insomnia at the very least since I started secondary school, if not sooner. I have different theories as to why that started, but that's not what this is about. I can do a different video on insomnia too. But it kind of ties in, you know. Well, I don't know, maybe think if you're high energy during the day, maybe think you know, that'll tire some kids out, but maybe there's something about having ADHD which means that you don't have the same, I've expended all this energy and need all this sleep. There's been some things happening in my relationship, especially, and like the last few years, well, the last year or so, I'd say, since I've come off antidepressants, that make me think that, you know, there was something else going on with me. I thought maybe I was, you know, it was just from coming off medication, not being numb, all this other stuff with fibro, or just, even though I'm off antidepressants, I'm still depressed. You know, my life is difficult with all the chronic pain and that, and the chronic fatigue, ongoing issues surrounding my weight, which is, my weight loss actually going well. That's a story for another time. But anyway, so yeah, so I thought maybe I have ADHD. So these are the symptoms of ADHD in women. This is just like a generalized thing. I saw the symptoms and I don't have all of them, but from the common symptoms I have quite a lot. So low self-esteem. I mean, most women at some point, if not all women at some point, experience low self-esteem. I've got depression. I used to be very slim, very active before fibro. I put on a lot of weight. So of course I'm gonna have low self-esteem. Yeah. That's the problem with some of these things. It's like, is it caused by ADHD? Is it fibro? Is it depression? Is it just because I'm a girl? You know, that's life. Anyway, difficulty maintaining relationships. Yes. Before Tom, my longest relationship was like 6 years, but it was very, very on and off. It was very, very difficult, and I always thought that was to do with all this trauma from my childhood and teens and early adulthood. I thought it was depression that went untreated for until I got to uni and I was able to get myself on antidepressants and counselling. But maybe I had difficulty with friends as well. I always had difficulty getting along with girls. I felt I didn't really have a lot in common, partly because my parents were so strict and kept, I wasn't allowed to wear makeup until I was like 18 really, maybe a little bit at 17, but mostly at 18, and all that kind of stuff. I thought, you know, I just attribute it to other things, and but yeah, maybe it's ADHD. Forgetfulness, that's easily distracted. Again, I thought it's to do with fibro, especially the fibro fog. I thought it was, you know, you get some brain fog of depression as well, so maybe not. Now, difficulty sitting still, fidgety. I do have difficulty sitting still now, but that's because I'm uncomfortable in my body, you know. Even just sitting, a lot of stuff hurts. Like right now I have a weird, not really pain, but it's like a sort of discomfort in my ribs. My back always hurts anyway, even with like several pillows and that, and painkillers. You know, I still have a lot of pain, every day, not most days, every single day. So I'm fidgety now, mostly because I'm uncomfortable, but when I was younger, definitely I was so fidgety, like to the point where it was annoying to other people, you know, where they're like, just sit still. Yeah. Impulsive or erratic behavior. I'm definitely impulsive. There's stuff like I'll try to focus and not do something, and then just like, I'm gonna do it anyway. And it's always bothered me, and it's been a big struggle in my 20s trying to overcome. And I always wondered, like, why can't I stop being impulsive even when I want to stop? I genuinely want to stop it. Like, why is it so beyond my control? And I didn't really know what that was down to, because that's not, I think maybe it can tie in a little bit to depression. I also have anxiety as well, but to a lesser degree. I don't think it's any tied to anxiety. But yeah, I just assumed, actually no, this was one of the things that I couldn't really attribute what my problem was. I thought maybe because I was brought up in such a strict household growing up, like even to when I was in my early 20s, still going home, My parents would still try to control me or guilt me into doing certain things or not doing things and all that kind of stuff. I thought I was sort of, my mind was like rebelling against being told what to do, sort of thing. But maybe it's ADHD. Maybe she's born with it. Maybe it's ADHD. Feeling disorganized or overwhelmed. I just attributed like the overwhelmed stuff to anxiety. I'm very disorganized. I just thought, you know, I'm just a messy person. I didn't think there was anything behind it. Maybe not. Feeling inept in social situations. For the longest time I thought I was just really shy. And then when I did psychology, I'm not sure if it was that when I did it in A level, but definitely in uni, I thought, oh, I think I actually have signs of social anxiety. Maybe it's social anxiety, maybe it's ADHD. I'm going like between two websites to make sure I tackle everything. There we go. Right, we go down to symptoms. One, not sure. There we go. Adults. Right. Continually starting new tasks before finishing old ones. Yeah, I do that quite a bit, but I mean, I don't really do a whole lot right now. But I'll start to do something and then I'll get distracted and do something else, so I guess that pans out a lot. Yeah, sounds about right, really. I'm trying to think like a little further back, like in my 20s. Yeah, I get distracted. It's mostly, I guess, because I was bored of what I was doing, like say tidying up the house, and that of course I get bored, or I find something like, oh, you know. But I think most people do that, you know, correct me if I'm wrong. Yeah. Difficulty keeping quiet and speaking out of turn. 1000% yes. Once I'm not too anxious around people, I am a chatterbox. Like, I've been told as far back as I can remember that Becky has the gift of the gab, as you say. Or as a phrase from my mum that was actually not mean, is that she's got more rabbits than Sainsbury's. I don't really get what rabbits have to do with talking, but you know. And my mind wanders a lot even when I'm talking, so speaking out of turn, I guess, you know, I interrupt because I'm like so excited. Oh, I need to tell this person this, you know. I do it all the time to Tom, because, you know, I speak to him obviously more than anyone because we live together. But it's I am annoyed that I do it, and I kind of feel like I don't know how to stop. And I'll try and I'll be like, and I'll like, wait, let me listen, and also try not to forget what I wanted to say, because my brain is so scattered. I forget what I'm going to say a lot. But, you know, who doesn't? Again, that's something as well I attributed to fibro fog. And, you know, as well, antidepressants give you a lot of brain fog too, so, you know, which is the cause of all these things. But then I guess if you have all these things and they all cause this, then maybe it's worse than someone who just has one of these conditions. Who knows? They got like blurting out responses and often interrupting. Like, how is that different to what I just said of like keeping quiet and speaking out of turn? To me, that's like the same. Poor organizational skills. Yes, I've always wanted to be organized. I always thought, like, once I had my own space, I didn't have to share a room with my siblings, and I didn't have a tiny room like in uni halls, I would be more organized. But first of all, I have so much stuff, especially makeup. I have so much. I've given so much away and I still have so much, and I don't even buy as much as I used to. But I digress. So yeah, it's hard to be organized when you don't have anything to put things in. Like, we just put up another shelf in here, so I can try and put some things away and organize things. But yeah, I've always, and then yeah, once I realised I was always going to be kind of messy, I thought, not messy, it's like organised chaos, because until I went on the venlafaxine antidepressant, it was organised chaos because I knew where most things were. They were just not put away properly. Blah, blah, blah. Let's see. Mood swings, irritability, and a quick temper. I mean, my mum's Irish, redhead. I have some red hair naturally, you know, the genes passed down, and I'm short. Short people are known to have a bit of a temper, so it's something that I just thought, you know, it was just to do with that. And obviously I work on my temper. I'm an adult, I do have some self-control, even though some of this conversation might lead you to believe otherwise, which is what I've said. But yeah, I'm pretty good at losing my temper, controlling my temper. But lately, over the last year, I haven't, and I thought I was just, you know, with conversations with my counsellors, like the last one I had before my current guy, we thought it was maybe down to, you know, I have a lot of right to be angry. I had all this terrible stuff happen to me, all this lots and lots of trauma, and then I went through 6 years of trying to do a 3-year degree. I kept failing. I didn't know I was suffering burnout. Maybe I had ADHD. I had depression the whole time, sometimes very bad. I lost my granddad, who I loved dearly. He was like the only man in my life to ever actually love me and not hurt me in any way. Like at the time, I hated how far away, I've always hated how far my nan lives up in Manchester. I always wished to be closer. I wish I was, you know, I had cousins as close. I had all these problems with my siblings, blah 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 blah. Relationships were a dumpster fire, you know, all this stuff was going on. And then I just thought, you know, if I get through this hurdle, I thought if I move out of home, things will get better, because I'll be away from the people causing me the most pain. The battery's about to die. And I thought I just need to get through my degree, and then things will get better, because you know, I can work, I can earn some decent money. You know, it was always, if I reach this and overcome this next obstacle, things will get better. But then they didn't, because then after uni, I had a lot of pain, because I had the 2 trapped nerves from, you know, pole dancing / contortion class. That went on for a long time. It took a long time for it to stop. Despite treatment, it wasn't really responding. And then I had like 18 months, year to 18 months of chiropractic, which is expensive. But it was like, I just need to get through this, and then I can start doing something maybe with my psychology degree, or do something in the interim while, because I knew my brain had kind of run away after uni. But I just thought, you know, I'd been trying for 6 years to deal with my depression, which was really bad, and deal with uni. I did not know for years that I was probably actually fully burnt out. Burnout is like, it's not nothing, it's not just like being tired, it's like a condition in itself, and it can take like 5 years to get better. It can take less, it can take longer, but you know, that's another thing. But yeah, so I thought I'd have all these things, and then I got fibro. My life has not turned out any way I wanted it to. I have a degree, I can't use it. I couldn't finish, when I went back to college to do beauty therapy, I couldn't do my year 3 because massage is a huge part of it, and that's physically too demanding on my body. So yeah, I just figured, you know, any mood swings, irritability, it's just because my life kind of sucked overall. It was a huge struggle. None of it was getting better. Fibro is a lifelong condition. It's gradually gotten worse over the years. And you know, the only thing that wasn't driving me up the wall was my relationship. It is now, but that's a different kettle of fish. So yeah. Inability to deal with stress. again, that's something I thought that was just because of my depression. I've always, until recently, I've always ranked, like, you have this, it's a questionnaire you fill out yourself, so it's self-reporting. And I always scored as having severe depression. So I thought, you know, that was why I was unable to deal with stress. I thought maybe I was handling stress better than I was, until my friend Sue died. He was in some ways like a surrogate mother figure for me. When she died of cancer like 4 years ago, I think it was, or 5, no, I think it was 5 years ago, 4 or 5 years, anyway. And then immediately I had like the worst IBS of my life, and that lasted like 6 months. So every time I got stressed after that, I would always get IBS. I thought maybe I'm not handling stress as well as I thought, because I'm always stressed, but it's somewhat to the back of my mind. It's like, there's a lot of stuff, there's nothing I can do about it. I can't fix my depression overnight. I had it at least since I was 16, if not earlier. I can't fix fibro. I was struggling to lose weight. I was gaining it instead. Especially the more inactive I became, the more I drank, the more I ate chocolate and all that stuff. So, you know, I guess I was stress eating and stress drinking a bit. More stress drinking. There was a lot of self-harming over the years. Suicide attempts. So I guess obviously in those cases I wasn't handling the stress, but like, you know, I felt like a million balls that I was trying to juggle, a million things I had no control over, or was struggling to fix it even a little. You know, how do you deal with that stress? How do you deal with things that you can't change? It's hard to accept that you can't change them, especially when they're so all-consuming, which fibro is, and depression has been sometimes, if not all the time. Taking risks in activities with little or no regard for personal safety or the safety of others, for example, driving dangerously. This is one of the things I feel that I don't have. You could say maybe drinking alcohol is taking risks. You know, I get very drunk sometimes on nights out. I didn't really start drinking until I was in my early 20s, well, till I was like 20 to 21. So I didn't know my limit then. And I, you know, throw up a lot. I guess black out a little bit, but I'd get my memories back and all that kind of stuff. So I wasn't like fully blacking out. You could say that's risk behaviour. I never did bungee jumping or skydiving, anything like that, but I definitely would have, because I have like thrill seeker tendencies, but maybe that's the ADHD side of me. Tom thinks I have more risk taking behaviour, because like he'll tell me take this, it'll help my fibro, like a supplement or drug, and I'll just take it, and then I'll forget as well. Like later on, like say a few weeks down the line, I'll tell, say, my acupuncturist what I'm taking, and I was like, I can't remember why I'm taking it, whether it's like to help my memory, to help my mood, to help my libido, to help pain. And I was like, but Tom told me to take it, so I'm taking it, which is definitely not great, but you know, I'm 99% sure he's not trying to kill me, so maybe that's the risk taking behaviour. I don't think it applies to me that much. It depends, I guess, how you define risk behaviour. So yeah, that's everything. There's related conditions in adults with ADHD. Personality disorders, which is, you know, quite varied. That can be stuff like borderline personality disorder, antisocial personality disorder, depression. No, people with personality disorders may have mental health problems like depression and substance misuse. Bipolar disorder is not a personality disorder. This is another condition that is often related with a related condition in adults with ADHD, which I don't have. OCD. I don't think I have OCD. I've looked at the symptoms before. As you know, you have like ever so slight tendencies without actually having it. Like, but it's just like I would never say, oh, I'm obsessive compulsive and that. But I do have like intrusive thoughts. You know, there's things I don't want to think about, and sometimes I can't help thinking about them. Like the thoughts pop into my head, like trauma from my past and that. I'm not sure if that's what they mean, to be honest. And I would say that I don't have any compulsive tendencies, not what they talk about with OCD. And yeah, so the next stage, I guess, is causes of OCD. ADHD, sorry. Genetics is one. You know what that means? It can run in families. So research has shown a number of possible differences in the brains of people with ADHD from those without the condition, although the exact significance of these is not clear. There are certain areas of the brain which may be smaller in people with ADHD, whereas other areas may be larger. Other studies suggest that people with ADHD may have an imbalance in the level of neurotransmitters in the brain, or the chemicals that these neurotransmitters may not work properly. The stuff about neurotransmitters in fibromyalgia as well, I might have mentioned that in one of my fibro videos, which I can link below. I have I think a clearly marked playlist of fibro videos. And you know, there's chemical imbalances as well is one theory of why people have depression. And there's definite proof of people with depression in like an MRI, their brains light up differently, or rather don't light up, compared to a normal brain or someone without depression. There's like, you know, I guess they ask some questions or whatever, they stimulate the person, as in like talking, and you know, a lot of stuff will light up in the brains. But people with depression, it's either very dim or most of those lights are completely out, which I find fascinating. Groups at risk. Certain people are also believed to be more at risk of ADHD, including people who are born prematurely, before the 37th week of pregnancy, or with a low birth weight. I was not premature. My mum worked out herself when she thought I was due, and like the hospital had their idea of when I was due, and I came out apparently right on time for my mum's prediction, but according to the hospital I was like something like 10 days early. But obviously that's not before the 37th week. Low birth weight. I always forget how much I weighed. I think I was a 6-pounder. I want to say 6'3". 6 pound 3 ounces, but do not quote me on that because I forget all the time. I had it written down somewhere, like obviously my birth certificate, but I can't remember what it is. Oh, my butt hurts. I've been sitting down too long. Okay. People with epilepsy. I don't have epilepsy, so you can ignore that. And people with brain damage, which either happened in the womb or severe head injury later in life. I don't think I've ever had brain damage. Apparently I was born blue. I had my right leg wrapped around my neck. Apparently it was tight enough to cut off some oxygen, or maybe it's like knocking the umbilical cord or something. Oh, I think the umbilical cord was also around my neck actually, so yeah, I was blue. And severe head injury, I mean, I split my head open like somewhere around here when I was somewhere, I'd say under 5, but older than 2 for sure. And I fell apparently between a table and chair, like I was jumping between the two, like jumping, say, from the table onto a chair, and I slipped, or the chair moved and I slipped, and I hit my head and cracked it right open. I have like a permanent scar. They had to actually stitch it up. They didn't use glue. So did that cause brain damage? Probably not, but you know, it's definitely a bit of a jostle, isn't it? So, diagnosis. So if you think you or your child may have ADHD, speak to a GP. Oh yeah, everything I'm saying is like treatment and stuff, and like who to go to, is based on living in the UK, because that's where I live. It might work differently if you live elsewhere. I think my friend in Australia, Kristen, said that you'd speak to a psychiatrist, but it's very difficult to see an actual psychiatrist here. So yeah, I don't know what's going to happen. I'll speak to the GP first, see what they say. They will probably try to do it themselves. They don't like to refer you to psychiatrists. I think there's probably not that many on the NHS, which is our free health service. And even if I got a referral for a private psychiatrist, I don't think I could afford it. I think it's like 300 quid. And ADHD is not severe enough that I need to fork out that kind of money for it. If it was for my depression, yes, I'd probably pay for that. But anyway. You can also speak to, you know, teachers if it's your child, before seeing a GP, to find out if they have concerns about your child's behaviour. I know throughout my whole school life, I was, like my school report was always, pretty much every single teacher, Becky is lovely, polite, hardworking, talks too much. Every single one, from probably at least 5 years old to 16, talks too much. Nothing I didn't already know. When you see a GP, they may ask you about the symptoms, when these symptoms started, where they occur, for example, home, school, college, university, at work, whether the symptoms affect you or your child's day-to-day life, for example, if they make socializing difficult, if there's been any recent significant events in you or your child's life, such as death or divorce in the family, if there's a history of ADHD, any other problems of different health conditions you or your child may have. So obviously I got a lot of health issues in terms of fibre and depression. So let me know what you think. Let me know if you have any questions. You can always reach me as well on Instagram, which the link will be included below. I get notifications faster than I do, and more often than I do for YouTube, so it might be easier that if you just want to talk and say, hey, I have this condition too, you can put that in the comments below if you're comfortable. Or if you want to talk about it privately, reach me on Instagram, that's okay too. Oh yeah, there was other stuff about like diagnosis in adults, and then assessment, and treatment. Oh, sorry, let me quickly go over treatment. Treatment. So, medication or therapy, a combination of both, is best. Treatment is usually arranged by a specialist, such as a pediatrician or psychiatrist, although the condition may be monitored by a GP. So yeah, I might see my GP try to fob me off, refer me to a psychiatrist, get me proper help for a change. 5 types of medicine is listed. I will put them below because I probably can't pronounce them properly, and it's not going to be any help to anyone. But I'll put the link below as well, of where I'm reading the stuff. It's usually just the NHS website is a good starting point for these things. This medicine's not a permanent cure, but may help someone with a condition concentrate better, be less impulsive, feel calmer, learn and practice new skills. Some medicines will be needed to taken every day, but some can be taken just on school days. Treatment breaks are occasionally recommended to assess whether the medicine is still needed. If you're not diagnosed until you're an adult, a GP and specialist can discuss with you medicines and therapies that are suitable for you. Talk about side effects with your GP. Let them know if you feel you need to stop treatment or change it. Your specialist will discuss how long you should take your treatment, but in many cases, treatment is continued for as long as it's helping. Yeah, so that's that. Ooh, it's a lot of info. So yeah, like I said, feel free to comment down below if you want to keep the conversation going. If you want to reach out to me privately for whatever reason, doesn't even have to be related to ADHD, could be to do with anything, let me know. I'm always happy to talk to people. It's easier to talk to strangers online than it is face to face, so yeah, that's that. Like and subscribe and all that stuff if you like. It'd be a help to me. And hopefully I'll see you very soon. Fingers crossed my pain is manageable so I can come back sooner rather than later. Ugh. Bye for now.